Well, it's been a long road these 20-plus years, but it's all led to a day like today. Here in Alexandria, Virginia, welcome to the Central Fidelity Women's 8K Road Race. I'm Catherine Switzer, and joining me is
Barry Miller. You know, you've probably seen the Boston Marathon, the New York Marathon, and the LA Marathon, where men and women race together. Well, today we're going to witness something special, women's only road racing. Now, this is a sport that can stand on its own with its own individual excitement, drama, and emotion. Catherine, what can we expect out of these ladies today?
Barry, excitement, emotion, and drama. You know, in women's only racing, the women don't only just get to break the tape first, they learn the responsibility for strategy and pacemaking, which is essential at the international level of running. And at the international level today, we've got some stars. Barry, the field looks great.
Field looks outstanding. In fact, there are two ladies in this field I'd like to take a look at right now. Wearing number 2, Anne-Marie Letko of Glen Gardner, New Jersey. Anne was 8th at the 1993 World Track and Field Championship 10K in Stuttgart, Germany, and 2nd at the recent Bobby Krim 10-miler, where she was the pace setter until the last 600 meters.
Well, I'd like a good hard pace, but I'd like to try to be practical with it and try not to do most of the work like I usually do. But fast pace usually gets a good time, and that's what I'm shooting for.
Wearing number 1, Lynn Jennings of Newmarket, New Hampshire, 1992 Olympic bronze medalist at 10,000 meters and 5th at the recent Track and Field World Championship 10K. Lynn recently won the Krim 10-miler, and she's not one to complicate things strategically.
Go out fast, finish fast. Go out slow, finish fast. Go out medium, finish fast.
Welcome back to the Central Fidelity 8K Women's Road Race. I'm Barry Miller.
And I'm Catherine Switzer.
We have come by the 2-mile mark already. What was the split did you get, Catherine?
Very unofficially, Barry, I had it at 10:03. Now, that's still outside of an American record. But, hey, look, they're running great. Wonderful pace, and the two of them are working. There's still a chance that they can get under an American record. But in any case, you know, when Lynn Jennings ran a 25:02 for the American record, at the time it was a world record. And she has to be in the shape of her life to be able to do that. Letko is right with her. I think there's a lot of the race to go and a lot of excitement yet ahead.
Yes, these ladies are, just as we said earlier, it is a two-woman race. Anne-Marie, again, looks great. Lynn looks great. They're running stride for stride right now.
Barry, they're going up the first and only little hill in the course. It's not even a hill. It's actually just a bridge over the intersection here on the highway. But both of them said they didn't think that this would impede their speed at all. In fact, it would just change a little muscle action and make the race a little bit more interesting for them.
Pull in front of them.
Although I must say, just looking at the two women here on the right, Anne-Marie Letko, it seems to be working this hill a lot harder than Lynn Jennings is. They both look like they're running into a tiny bit of wind also. As you see, their hair is blowing back. This is a little unfortunate. Okay, now you just see Lynn Jennings has just got a little bit of a lead now on Letko. To me, Barry, what that is, that's fatigue, okay? That means that Anne has run a lot of races this summer. She's not as used to running that kind of circuit, that kind of season that Lynn Jennings is running, and the fatigue is showing just there on that little bump. And let's see now if she's going to try to make up this distance on Lynn. I hope she does. It's going to be hard for any athlete, even Lynn Jennings, just to be out there by herself.
Yes, absolutely. I was just going to say that Lynn, while of course she wants to win this, she doesn't want at this point to be running alone.
It's amazing. Athletes can really help each other tremendously. They can share that energy and they can share the pacemaking. Coming down off the hill, I also have to say that Lynn is running better than Anne-Marie also. See the freedom of her arms,
right.
And you see the strength of those legs. I got to just say, Lynn Jennings has been a pioneer in changing women's body images about themselves. She's one of the few runners who is not rail, thin, and anorexic looking. She's powerful and strong. Look at the thighs. There's a lot of strength in those thighs. And she takes a great deal of pride in that because she said, my strength is my speed, and I'm obviously a champion because I keep my body in great strength shape.
Well, for you young runners, you young cross-country runners out there, both boys and girls, you'll notice what I've been noticing is the arm carriage here of Lynn.
Barry, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I'm going to say now that this has been the break in the race. The split here is 15-17. Anne is not going to go with Lynn at this point.
No.
Lynn is putting her head down now, and she's going to go after it by herself. I will say that that is the break in the race, and it was made on that little bump of a hill.
Yes, we said it's not a big hill, but when you've got those tired legs that Anne has from such a long season in Europe, It was more or less a mountain to her.
Yes, as I say, she wasn't planning on running this race. She came up from Atlanta, where she's gone back to the drawing board to do some training to get ready for the autumn and to take a break. But the temptation of running with Lynn on a good flat course with great prize money is really good and tempting for her, and she will perform really well. But now look at Lynn Jennings beginning to widen the distance, and the two of them ever widening the distance from the other outstanding runners in the field. Now we head around to the next turnaround point, the last 180-degree turn here. For at this point, they're going to have about 2 miles to fly into the finish, and I predict that once Jennings makes this turnaround, she's going to really start hammering.
Well, Lynn Jennings' competition right now is Lynn Jennings and this course. Here she goes. Look, notice the arm carriage. She's picking up her pace. She's determined now.
We'll be right back as Donna Lopiano, Executive Director of the Women's Sports Foundation, holds the finish line tape with Vice President of Central Fidelity Bank, Marie Buckwalter.
Welcome back to exclusive coverage of the Parkersburg Half Marathon here on Prime Network. I'm John Mallis along with Cree Kelly. The race is shaping up just pretty much as we expected.
Yeah, we have a pretty tight pack, about 10 guys in the pack right now, and certainly we have to take a look at the two Kenyans right dead center in the bright blue. Right next to them on their right shoulder is John Sinclair, and he is running extremely well, and he says he doesn't like to run in the rain, but he sure is changing that tune right out here today.
He doesn't like to run in the rain, but I heard him say today he did run in the rain very well during one race that he spoke to you about.
In the past, you know, one of the races that he runs well at is the Nike Cherry Blossom race in Washington, D.C., where they had horrible conditions one time, and he has just hammered that course. But other guys that are in this field, look on the far left side. You're going to see Mark Kerp right now. He is making a move on the left front. He's wearing number 3. And Kip Rodich and Nyan Gicha, both the Kenyans, number 102 and 103, are doing extremely well out there. But right dead center is Sinclair. Just off Sinclair's right shoulder is Benny McIntosh in the bright orange shorts. But over on the far right, the guy that you were mentioning earlier, Lawrence Payu from South Africa, comes out of an altitude-trained athlete, is doing extremely well. It's anybody's guess how this will go. Two other Americans, John, that you should take a look at. One is Scott Fry, and the other one is Benny McIntosh. I think those two guys really could do well today.
So along with the Kenyans in the blue uniforms, Kiprotich and Nangicha, and the South African Payu, along with Andres Espinosa out of Mexico City, who's fallen back just a bit, the Americans here still very much in contention with Sinclair and Reifschneider and Kerp, who has fallen back just a bit now. Of course, Kerp is the American record holder in the half marathon. As a matter of fact, Mark Kerp, number 3, running right behind John Sinclair, has run 2 half marathons already this year, Cree.
They have, and I want to mention that when they went through the 2-mile point at about 9:30 plus, the field had really shaked out into this first lead pack. Espinosa is falling off the back already. He was second last year, but right now Reifschneider is still running extremely well, and Reifschneider had some comments to you earlier just before the race.
That's right. He said that he had stomach problems late last night and early this morning, was not feeling very well. And there is number 2, Bill Reifschneider, 30 years old, out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, battling for the lead. He actually is in the lead right now. And, of course, he finished 5th at the U.S. Olympic trials in the marathon earlier this year in Columbus. And his best time of the half marathon is 1:01:47. We're not too much concerned with times at this point because of the driving rain here in Parkersburg this afternoon.
Look at how it has changed already, though. You know, you definitely have a lead pack. Steve Taylor now falling a little bit off the backpack. Lawrence Payu is pushing toward the front. Bill Reifschneider is clearly the early pace setter. Now, Bill Reifschneider, this is not an unusual place for him to be. He likes to lead from the front, and he did it at the Columbus Marathon at the National Championships in Columbus, Ohio last November, and he's doing it here again today. But Sinclair is not giving up, and you've got Godfrey Kiprotich on the left side, number 102, and on the right side, the other Reebok athlete, number 103, Sammy Nyangicha. These guys are really running well, but look at the other guy coming up, Janicki.
Number 6, Don Janicki. He's 32 years old, out of Louisville, Columbus, or Colorado, I should say.
Actually, and this is hard for us to know, but Louisville, Colorado, Louisville, Kentucky. It's one of those little towns just off the shoulder of Boulder.
As the women approach the 2-mile mark, let's check in now with Catherine Switzer.
Already at 2 miles, the challenge in the race has been made. And at 2 miles in 10 minutes 49 seconds, it is serious. Diane Bussa ran the second mile in 5:29, and that is going uphill. Regardless of what the other women decide now, as they watch Diane literally springing up the hill and away from them, at this stage they're nearly 100 yards back, and it's going to take them a couple of miles to make up this kind of deficit. Trina Painter is in second, running smoothly, and if I were to guess, she knows she's running as fast as she can if she hopes to hold it for another 11 miles. And as I look back in the distance at Albina Galyamova, she looks a little bewildered. She knows Diane Bussa is experienced on this course, but I don't think she thought Diane Bussa would push the pedal down this early.
All right, Catherine, thank you very much. As you look at John Sinclair, number 1 in the lead, surrounded by the 2 Kenyans, Cree.
All right, John Sinclair running extremely well, our national champion last year. Maybe he'll repeat here this year.
Okay, we'll continue with more of the Parkersburg Half Marathon and Men's TAC National Championship on Prime Network after this brief timeout. Stay tuned.
Let's take a quick look ahead as the wheelchair racers approach the finish. In a battle to the tape, Craig Blanchett powers his way across the line in 23:19, just ahead of Doug Kennedy.
We're approaching the finish of this race, and Marcos Barreto continues to lead, followed by John Halverson and Herman Silva out of Mexico. And out of these 3 runners right now, you'd have to give the advantage to Halverson, wouldn't you? Just because he is the defending champion.
He is the defending champ. He did win Gasparilla last week, whereas Silva was 10th. Silva, who is in 3rd, was 10th at Gasparilla. However, John has not been doing his speed training. He's been running in the snow and ice, and I'm not sure what kind of speed he has left right now.
You're talking about the kick, Barb. He may or may not have a kick because of that.
And he may have run.
Well, there's the kick right there, Barb, as Halverson takes the lead, knowing that full well that the finish line is not far away now. He just passed Marcos Barreto, and Barb, it looks like he's going to leave both Herman Silva and Marcos Barreto in the dust right now. The surge came right there as you saw it, and Herman Silva trying to catch Halverson momentarily. I don't think he's got enough to catch him, do you?
Halverson did make a decisive move, and it did finally drop Barreto, but Silva countered that move very well and is neatly tucked in right behind him.
You can't count Silva out at this point. He is, like you said, neatly tucked in there, and he is not giving up at all in this race. Do you think Halverson is very aware that he's very close behind?
Oh, I think that John's extremely aware of where everybody is right now. I think he knows that they've taken care of Barreto, but Silva has pretty confidently moved right up on Halverson's shoulder.
Look at this. This is incredible. Herman Silva has taken the lead, momentarily going around the corner, Barb, and they are shoulder and shoulder right now, but Halverson just pulls away, and we'll see if he has the kick. John Halverson out of Norway, defending champion, the winner of the first race, his first race in Gasparilla a couple of weeks back, and here they go, approaching the finish line, not far away now, Barb. Look at how close they are. Herman Silva, you got to give this guy credit. Out of Mexico, he's hanging tough.
Well, Silva is an excellent athlete. He won the Bloomsday 12K, which is the largest race in the country, and the Old Reliable 10K last year. He beat Halverson at the Old Reliable last year, so Silva stands an excellent chance of stealing this race.
All right. Silva is 23 years old. John Halverson is 24. And like Barb has said, Halverson did not get his speed training in. We'll see if this affects him as he approaches the finish line in Orlando. He's got just a very slim lead over Herman Silva. And here they are, and going around the turn, Silva takes the lead momentarily. Halverson gets it back, and the sprint right there by Halverson toward the finish line here at the Red Lobster 10K. It's going to be a tight finish, Barb, as Halverson trying to hold on. Can he do it? Silva taking the lead. Herman Juan Silva out of Mexico, 23 years old, in the process of upsetting the defending champion John Halverson as he approaches the finish line. Silva wins the race and upsets John Halverson, who finishes in second, and here comes Marcos Barreto in third. Barb, what a surprise.
This really is a surprise. We had no idea that Silva, based on his performance at Gasparilla a couple weeks ago, we really did not expect Silva to be that much of a factor in this race today.
What a kick at the end by Silva. Did that surprise you at all?
No, it didn't. Silva is a track runner with a track background, and track athletes do have that ability to switch into another gear in just a moment's notice. And he countered Halverson's surges, and he countered Halverson's final move. John may have moved a little bit too soon.
We'll be back with the finish of the women's race here at the Red Lobster 10K in Orlando on the Prime Network. Along the Back Bay here in Boston, down Commonwealth Ave and the famous Brownstones. In the lead is Kathy O'Brien, followed by number 2, Lynn Jennings. Coming off onto the Mass Ave, the Harvard Bridge, there was a lead change. Kathy O'Brien started pushing the pace. Judy St. Hilaire has fallen back to third.
And right now, Kathy O'Brien looks very strong. She is forcing the pace, but Lynn Jennings looks incredibly relaxed.
In this race, you've got Kathy O'Brien and Lynn Jennings going 1-2, and who would be the local favorite? I mean, they're both from this area.
They both are from this area. Kathy lives right in Boston, and right now a lot of people are standing here screaming her name, and I think it's because she trains right on these streets. Lynn secludes herself a little bit in New Hampshire. She doesn't socialize with the runners much. That way, she is kind of an intimidating presence. Kathy is a marathon specialist, and she's obviously really strong right now. She set a world record at 10 miles and has to be thinking really positively about the Chicago Marathon in a few weeks.
Basically, you have two runners with two completely different styles right now. One is a long-distance runner, and one really specializes in the short-distance 10K races.
Exactly. And as a long-distance runner, I would say that Kathy has to be thinking right now about forcing the pace all the way through the end, because Lynn has incredible leg speed, and if it turns out to be a kick, I don't want to be in Kathy's shoes.
What do you think is going through the mind of Lynn Jennings right now? Finishing second for a 4th consecutive year, or what?
No, I really seriously don't think that Lynn is thinking about finishing second. Before this race, she told me there was no way that she was going to finish second. And I would say that she'd have to be thinking about just staying comfortable, staying relaxed, and powering through the last half mile.
Okay, for a moment it looked like Lynn Jennings may have taken the lead, but she has dropped back some now. She's moving side to side. Any strategy there, Barb?
Right, around the corner, Lynn looked like she was ready to take the lead. I think she said, no, let's just be a little cautious here. I've got better leg speed than Kathy has. I'm going to sit a little while longer. We're coming down Boylston, right past the Public Garden, and near the Boston Common as we near the end of this Tufts Health Plan 10K road race for women. It is still Kathy O'Brien in the lead, followed by number 2, Lynn Jennings. And Jennings has finished second 3 years in a row. As they make the turn right there, it looked like Jennings might make a move, but no, she's still hanging back. No, Kathy O'Brien looks like she's struggling. Her face is really tight, and she's trying as hard as she can. Lynn still looks relaxed, but there's only 400 yards to go in this, and here Lynn makes her move.
Right there.
A quarter mile to go, and Lynn Jennings looks incredible.
With a quarter of a mile to go, Lynn Jennings has simply blown the drawers off of Kathy O'Brien. Here she comes toward the finish line here in Boston. She will take the checkered flag or the finish line here in Boston at the Tufts 10K road race for women.
Lynn is just flying now. Look at that stride.
Kathy O'Brien, Olympian, coming in second. October, New Hampshire. Lynn Jennings has done it. She's come back to once again win the Tufts 10K. For women.
Lynn Jennings is your winner of the Tufts 10K Health Plan for Women here in Boston, followed by Kathy O'Brien. Okay, we'll be back with more from Boston after this station break.